The US and China are locked in a trade war. It began with the Trump administration's decision to impose hefty tariffs on Chinese goods. This aggressive move was meant to protect American industries and jobs. However, it ignited a trade conflict that has had far-reaching consequences for both countries. Trump's tariffs, reaching a staggering 104%, were unprecedented. They targeted a wide range of Chinese products, from electronics to clothing. The tariffs were designed to make Chinese goods more expensive for American consumers. This, in theory, would encourage them to buy American-made products instead. The Trump administration argued that these tariffs were necessary to protect American jobs. They claimed that China was engaging in unfair trade practices, such as intellectual property theft and currency manipulation. These practices, they argued, were harming American businesses and workers. However, many economists warned that the tariffs would backfire. They argued that the tariffs would harm American consumers by raising prices. They also argued that the tariffs would hurt American businesses that rely on Chinese imports. China refused to back down in the face of American pressure. The Chinese government viewed Trump's tariffs as an attack on its economy and a challenge to its growing global influence. In a show of strength and determination, China responded in kind, imposing its own tariffs on a range of US goods. China's retaliatory tariffs targeted key American exports, such as soybeans, automobiles, and pork. The tariffs were carefully calibrated to inflict maximum economic pain on American industries that were politically important to the Trump administration. The message from Beijing was clear: China would not be bullied. The Chinese government made it clear that it was prepared to endure short-term economic pain to defend its long-term interests. China's response sent shockwaves through the global economy. The trade war escalated rapidly, with both sides imposing more and more tariffs. Businesses and consumers on both sides of the Pacific began to feel the pinch. The trade war created uncertainty and instability in the global economy. China's response to Trump's tariffs went beyond matching tariffs. Recognizing the need to exert strategic pressure, China took aim at American companies operating within its borders. This multi-pronged approach included blacklisting American firms and restricting access to vital resources. Several prominent American companies found themselves on China's blacklist. These companies faced a range of challenges, from increased scrutiny to difficulty in securing licenses and permits. This effectively cut them off from the vast Chinese market, impacting their bottom line and sending a stark warning to others. Furthermore, China strategically tightened the flow of essential resources. Exports of rare earth minerals, crucial for the production of everything from smartphones to military equipment, were restricted. This move exposed the vulnerability of American supply chains and highlighted China's dominance in these critical sectors. These actions demonstrated China's willingness to leverage its economic and industrial might. By targeting American businesses and restricting key resources, China aimed to disrupt American industries and apply pressure on the US government. The trade war initiated by the Trump administration has had a profound impact on both the US and Chinese economies. While both sides have felt the pressure, the consequences have been uneven. The US, in particular, has faced significant economic headwinds. American consumers have borne the brunt of the tariffs. The cost of Chinese goods, from everyday items to consumer electronics, has risen sharply. This has squeezed household budgets and dampened consumer spending, a key driver of the US economy. Moreover, American businesses, particularly those reliant on Chinese imports or exports, have been hit hard. Farmers, for example, have seen demand for their soybeans plummet as China turned to other suppliers. Manufacturing has also been impacted, with companies facing higher costs and supply chain disruptions. China, on the other hand, has weathered the storm with greater resilience. While the trade war has undoubtedly had an impact, China's diversified economy and strategic initiatives have cushioned the blow. China's strategic resilience is second to none. Faced with American tariffs and trade barriers, China has demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability. Instead of capitulating to US demands, China has strategically navigated the challenges, emerging from the trade war in a position of strength. One of China's key strategies has been to accelerate its efforts to become self-sufficient in critical technologies. Recognizing its vulnerability to U.S. restrictions on technology exports, China has poured resources into research and development, fostering innovation in areas like artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and 5G. Furthermore, China has actively sought to reduce its reliance on the US dollar in international trade. By promoting the use of its own currency, the yuan, in cross-border transactions, China aims to weaken the impact of US financial sanctions and create a more multipolar global financial system. China has also strengthened its ties with other countries, forging new trade partnerships and deepening existing ones. The Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project spanning Asia, Europe, and Africa, is a testament to China's global ambitions and its commitment to building a network of interconnected economies. Rerouting trade and manufacturing. The trade war has forced China to reassess its reliance on the US as its primary export market. In response, China has deftly rerouted trade flows and diversified its manufacturing base, mitigating the impact of American tariffs and securing its position in the global economy. One of China's key strategies has been to redirect exports to other countries. Southeast Asia, in particular, has emerged as a major destination for Chinese goods. Countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia have seen an influx of Chinese exports, often exceeding their own domestic demand and raising concerns about transshipment to the US. Moreover, China has encouraged its companies to shift manufacturing operations to other countries, particularly those with lower labor costs. This has led to a surge in Chinese investment in Southeast Asia, creating jobs and boosting economic growth in the region. This diversification of trade routes and manufacturing locations has reduced China's dependence on the US market. It has also strengthened China's economic ties with other countries, creating a more balanced and resilient global trade network. A new world order. China's ascendancy in the global market. The trade war initiated by the Trump administration has inadvertently accelerated a shift in the global balance of power. While intended to contain China's rise, the trade war has, in many ways, strengthened China's position on the world stage. China is now widely seen as a reliable trading partner and a source of investment and innovation. Its growing economic clout has translated into greater political influence, allowing China to shape global agendas and challenge the traditional dominance of the US. Moreover, China's success in weathering the trade war has bolstered its image as a rising global power. It has demonstrated its ability to withstand external pressure and pursue its own economic and strategic interests. This shift in global power dynamics is evident in the growing number of countries seeking closer ties with China. From Europe to Africa, nations are eager to tap into China's vast market and benefit from its infrastructure investments. The road ahead, navigating the uncertain future of U.S. China trade. The future of U.S. China trade relations remains uncertain. While the trade war has cooled in recent years, tensions persist. The Biden administration, while taking a less confrontational approach than its predecessor, has maintained many of the tariffs imposed by Trump. The US and China are now locked in a strategic competition, vying for economic and technological dominance. This competition is likely to shape the global landscape for decades to come. The challenge for both countries is to find a way to coexist and cooperate in a multipolar world. This will require dialogue, compromise, and a recognition of each other's legitimate interests. The alternative, a decoupling of the world's two largest economies, would be disastrous for both countries and the global economy as a whole. It would lead to higher prices, reduced innovation, and a more fragmented and unstable world. Conclusion. A testament to China's strength and determination, the trade war initiated by the Trump administration was a defining moment in US-China relations. It marked a turning point in the global balance of power and exposed the vulnerabilities of a US-centric world order. China's response to the trade war was a testament to its strength, resilience, and determination to chart its own course. Rather than bowing to US pressure, China stood its ground, strategically navigating the challenges and emerging from the conflict in a position of strength. The trade war has demonstrated that China is no longer content to be a passive player in the global economy. It is a rising power with its own ambitions and interests, and it is willing to use all its resources to achieve its goals. As the world moves towards a more multipolar order, China's role will only continue to grow. The US and the rest of the world must learn to engage with China on its own terms, recognizing its strengths and respecting its interests. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.